We are back once again with Moms Coaching Moms. I'm Rachelle and this is Christine. And we are again continuing actually to untangle the lies that we believe as moms. So we've had a couple different weeks. The first week, we were talking about just wait until your kid, whatever does that. And then last week was, are you a bad mom? And we talked about all the things of being a bad mom. And this week we want to ask the question, what if I'm not a Pinterest mom? And what if I am? Because, Pinterest is everyone knows Pinterest, especially in the mom community. We talk about Pinterest moms. And again, if you've heard our other videos, we talk a lot about, especially this month, about good and bad and how we can make things good or bad. And when we make something good, the opposite is bad, but the opposite is true. If we make something bad, then the opposite's true. Like it goes both ways, and how it can just stifle us and it can like suffocate us, really. And so for me, I don't know that I would consider myself a Pinterest mom. Because I guess I'm like, I don't have like the show home and I don't do like everything. I don't live on there, but a few things is like, I am very creative. I love creating. I painted all my kids' rooms and I did these like some quite elaborate murals and I did it because I loved it. I was one that made like those crazy cakes at one point. All of my kids still talk about like, you only did it for the twins. I'm like, in that moment, I just wanted to do it. So I made this like R2D2 cake for Graydon, and I made a strawberry shortcake with this big dress for Anna. And I've done those things. I've had a wall in my house that was like a frame wall, and it was like this frame gallery. And it was like all these frames, and people would come in and go, like, are you going to put pictures in all of those? I'm like, no, there's pictures in some of them. It's my art creative side. And so, but what happened was with that too, and I understand that this was, it was a person or a couple people in my life. Again, it goes to a deeper story in my life that I was, very sort of trained to listen to other people and listen to their judgments instead of listening to myself. And so those things were made bad in my world. It was like, oh, you're going to take time to do that. You could be out doing something else. Oh, you're going to take money to go do that, to paint your kid's room. And really? Like, and so again, it's like the judgment of good or bad. Then when we allow that and when we take that on, we can see, like we don't end up living for who we actually are. We end up living sort of this what life. Like we've talked about that. Like, what are you? Well, I'm a mom. Like, okay, but who are you? We've talked about that. And so one of the things that really made a big difference for both of us was a psychological assessment that we did. And it's a People Best assessment. It's at Wendy, WENDII.ai, Wendy assessment. And it is based on our psychological, or what we find out is that what are our psychological needs? And so it's very different than like a personality test. We've also done very many personality tests and love those. But this is different in the sense that it's like our psychological needs. And so I'm going to share my screen and let you, Christine, kind of go through like how this really made a difference for us in being able to, sit in that, okay, am I a Pinterest mom? Am I not a Pinterest mom? And obviously it's a lot bigger than just that question, but yeah. So if you want to.
Oh, for sure. Okay, so the difference between Rachelle and I is that Rachelle is very much a creator and on stage. And so being able to put things on social media and take things from Pinterest and showcase this is a very important part of who she is. Psychologically, she needs to do that. And she needs to be able to express herself in that way. For me, on the other hand, not so much. I am definitely way more, they say, an improver. So I'm not really the one that wants to create. I would sort of like to appreciate someone else's, maybe put my own little spin on it. And I definitely have no problem paying someone else to make a fancy cake. I have no problem buying dollar store candles instead of making my own to put on that cake. And I definitely have no problem buying the little plastic, bags and getting all the stuff, to put in those goodie bags instead of making it all from scratch. Here is the thing, is that for some of us, and another thing going on to the on stage, it says that my self concept is on stage, but when you actually go into it deeper, I'm right in between the searching and the on stage. And so what does that mean for me? Well, going deeper into it, deeper story, not really having the time right now to. The truth was, due to some deep trauma in my past, I actually am someone who loves to question. I love to be like, oh, why do I need to make the cake by myself and showcase it on social media when I could pay someone else to do it and post that on social media and say, thank you to so and so for whoever made this beautiful cake? Why does that have to be good or bad?
Well, and that's funny that you say that, because I, like, when I looked at stuff, like, I would look, I mean, I've paid people to make cakes too. And I looked at cakes and I'm like, I could make that. And I loved the challenge of it and stuff.
Like, I could not do that, and I don't want to do that.
And that's exactly what we're saying, is like, there's no good or bad here. It's just, I loved seeing and going, I could do that. I could figure that out, and you were like, no, I'll just pay people. And both are fantastic.
Totally okay.
Yeah.
Totally okay. And so, like, this idea of being able to question and dissect things and untangle things, I get really excited to do that. And I love to have that conversation. I love having meaningful, connecting conversations with people to find out the differences with that. And the amount of stories that I've had with people that, like in this thing, like, they're more sort of on the creative Pinterest, side of life. And then those of us that aren't, and really finding out we actually have all the same emotions. We have all the same thoughts. We have all the same desires. We just go about it differently. And how beautiful is that? And how my kids might get excited to have, a cake, made and, from someone else. And I will add that my daughter, who has the multiple special needs and diagnoses, she actually will look at all those cakes and be like, I want to try to make that. I'm like, awesome.
Yeah. Dad, are you available?
Really? And she has made some pretty, like, she has, like, she's got a couple of people on her support team that are willing to tackle that. And she also has a friend who's willing to spend the hours to make these elaborate cakes that I'm like, can you even eat that? Like, that's amazing. So again, it's not that it's not that it's good or bad. I just know I am not going to make that cake with her. I have no desire, and in fact, it just cripples me with this. Oh my gosh! Like, no, I would rather just go and order it. And at the same time, watching her flourish on that and learn these skills and stuff, I'm like, that's amazing, and I love that, and I love that for her. I know that I'm sure that I have posted it on my social media page if people want to see it. So yeah, I think that it is totally amazing that we can allow this, because the truth is we have spent all this time and conditioning throughout our lives to build self-esteem. And when we learned that self-esteem is how you feel about yourself, I don't know about you, I have a million different feelings throughout a day. And so no wonder it feels like my self-esteem is taking a beating. However, my self concept is totally different. And so,
Yeah.
me knowing that I need to be able to question, I need to be able to ask those questions, and then to be able to get feedback, and then to be able to have that conversation with people. It's not that I don't like to talk to people. I love talking to people, and I love what we're doing with Moms Coaching Moms. So it's not that I don't want to be on stage. It's just in a very different way. And understanding my self concept, which is what we know about
Yeah.
ourselves, is a totally different thing. And if we can remove that good and bad, and this idea, even when I was looking at the results and being like, well, who wants to be searching? Truthfully, me, because I like to be able to find new things. I like to learn new things. I like to try those kind of things to see what fits and to see how that works, because then I actually do want to share that with other people. And then
Well,
that's where the onstage part comes for me.
exactly. And that's where we want to also, bring in the distinction between the self-esteem and self-concept. Because the self-esteem is, like you said, how you feel about yourself. Your self-concept is what you know about yourself.
Yeah.
And those can be very, very different at times. And so, I know in the last number of years, there's been this huge push that, we need to build our kids' self-esteem. Well, first of all, we can't really build their self-esteem. I can build my self-esteem. I can help build my kids' I can't build their self-esteem. It's how they feel about themselves. I can say stuff to them. I'm like, oh, you're amazing and whatever. But I don't know, like kids can see through stuff though very easily. And they'll be like, are you just telling me that stuff? Like, but what you know about yourself, hey, I know that you are a very kind person because I see you going and helping this person. You helped your sibling. You helped me clean up. You did this. You did that. Those are things that you can hold on to that, you know? So there's a huge difference between this self-esteem and self-concept. And that's something that we are really huge on and we're, going to be doing more with because we have seen the difference it's made even in our kids. Because like you said, what do they, there's over 10,000 different emotions or something. And we go through like over 1,000 or something a day. I don't remember the exact numbers because, not really a numbers person, but we go through like thousands of emotions in a day. Well, if self-esteem is based on our feelings, no wonder we're just like up and down and up and down and like, oh, I feel really great. And all of a sudden, oh no, I can't even walk out of the house because I'm like such a loser, maybe like, and on and on. Whereas like the self-concept, if we can take that and that we can take to our kids and we can teach our kids.
Yeah.
The thing is though, is that what we talk about all the time is it starts with us as moms. It starts with us and we need to build that self-concept in ourselves because as we've seen, it is so knocked. It's not just by, men in society. It's us as women too,
And
like
it takes courage.
It takes a lot of courage
to risk looking foolish,
yeah,
to risk making a mistake, to risk looking quote unquote bad.
yeah,
And we don't know the payoff until we've tried it.
yeah.
And so it takes a lot to be able to get there.
And that's exactly. And we want to just be in joy with each other all the time. And joy is one of our favorite words. Joy is glad to be together in our strengths and our weaknesses. And so whether you are a Pinterest mom or not a Pinterest mom, it really doesn't matter. It has no bearing on what you know about who you are as a person, who you are as a mom. If you enjoy doing those things, if you love being on social media and you like posting and you like doing that and you love making your cakes and you like doing parties and all that, that's amazing. And if you would rather be the one that pays someone to make a cake for you and go out and buy all the stuff that you need for pay someone to go buy the stuff or get someone else to go buy it or whatever, that's awesome. and it comes to, it reminds me of when we were talking last week about, are you a bad mom? Because we make these judgments about things instead of just like, okay, what do I need right now? What does my family need? Who are we as a family? Who do we want to be? And not worry about what someone else is telling us, because they're not living in our home. They're not living in our bodies, in our situations, nothing.
Yeah.
And I know one thing that you talk about a lot and has made a really big difference, and is that 1 inch by 1 inch card. And it
Brene
reminded
Brown,
me of,
baby.
yes.
Yes, Brene Brown has this amazing thing where she says that we're all wired for connection. And so, this idea that I'm not going to care what anybody thinks, that's not going to work long term. And also, what can also cripple us is that we care about what everybody thinks. So, the idea is, who is in our corner? Who knows our life? Who knows our story? And is, like as she says, in the ring with you, is in the fight, is in the day to day, who is there with you. And she said those people should fit on a 1 inch by 1 inch piece of paper. And those are the people whose thoughts, feelings, opinions that get to speak into your life. That's what matters. And so I started out on a piece of paper, and then I wrote those names in my phone. So I have it with me all the time. And I pull it out, and I pulled it out just the other day to read the names and be like, haha, that person doesn't have permission to speak into my life. And so I can say things like, thanks, but I'm not open to suggestions right now. That takes a lot of courage for me to
It
say
does.
things like that.
Yeah.
And I do say it. And I say, like, I know that this, matters to you, and this isn't open for discussion right now.
And
because their opinions in my life, they don't get a say, because they don't know the inner workings of what is going on. And equally is also true that the people that are on that 1 inch by 1 inch, sometimes their corrective feedback can kind of be like, ouch. And that is then where the rubber really does meet the road, because sometimes those uncomfortable conversations, they really do need to happen. And again, when they can meet you in joy, glad to be together in strength and weakness, that's when change really can happen. And some of the most amazing things can come out of that, because they do know you. They do know your heart. They do know your journey. And sometimes it's a blind spot for us, and they see something that maybe we don't. And it has this beautiful opportunity for us to grow in something. And so, both is true with that 1 inch by 1 inch, and it makes a huge difference.
Yeah.
In my life.
And the thing with that is, like, I had people, my growing up basically was, everyone was allowed to speak into my life because of, I'll get into that another time, but the deep story was everyone else got to tell me who I was and who I could be and what I could do and all of that. And that's how I grew up. And so even as an adult, there were people that were speaking into my life that, if you were to ask them, they'd be like, oh yeah, like I know you, and I know what you want and whatever. Well, when I actually looked at that, they didn't have a clue who I actually was. And part of that was because I didn't even know who I actually was, because I wasn't allowed to even figure that out. So I didn't really know. But then these people were speaking into my life, and there was like this good or bad again. It was like, oh, you're on social media? You're kind of posting too much. And you're kind of like, oh, and all these judgments again. And it wasn't like, they shouldn't have been on, mine wasn't a 1 inch by 1 inch. Mine was like the whole world, basically. And so it was something that I really learned and has been so helpful to me to go, okay, who am I going to place on that card? Because not everyone gets on there. And if they don't actually truly know me, and that's one of the reasons why we wanted to talk about the Wendy assessment, because that has made a huge difference for us getting to know ourselves. And so it's a totally free assessment. We have a page that we share, and it says Moms Coaching Moms on it, but you don't have to just be a mom to take it. Anyone can take it. We have colleagues and friends who are using it actually in businesses and companies, and like high level companies and everything, to help with hiring or even just building their company out. For us, as moms, it helped us as moms to be able to look and go, that's who I am. I know, like you mentioned before, that questioning was huge for me, for you, seeing that creative in me. I mean, I knew I was creative, but it was made such a bad thing that when I saw that, I was able to finally breathe again and just go like, oh, it's okay. I don't actually consider myself a Pinterest mom, but I love doing some of those things. Something I started years ago was this blog of just sharing some of the stuff, the furniture I've painted and like all this kind of stuff. And again, it just got lost along the way. And I'm like, I found so much joy in that. And so for us, again, are you a Pinterest mom or are you not a Pinterest mom? It really doesn't matter. It's who do you want to be? And who do you want to be you with? And let's all just, have joy together. Let's encourage each other, because that's really what we need as moms. Really, I mean, we all need encouragement. I mean, the whole world needs encouragement. We're speaking to moms mostly right now. We need encouragement as moms. We don't need to live in judgment. We get enough judgment. We judge ourselves enough. Like, we need to just encourage each other that we're doing our best in who we are. And I love the saying, when I know better, then I will do better. And until then, I can just be me and we can be us. So again, we appreciate anyone that watches these. And if you have comments, please comment below. All of our links and everything to join us. Moms, we have our NJAM Conversations, moms only, Wednesday nights. And it's a free registration link will be provided with our post. And then also the Wendy assessments, if you want to know more about who you are and being able to just be in your strengths. And because it's made a huge difference for us. And that link will be posted below as well. And it's free to do that. So yeah, we're going to keep untangling these lies though.
And Slack is another one that you
Yes.
can join our Moms Coaching Moms private group on there as well. And we have a promotion going on through the Amanda Todd Legacy Foundation that you can join too. So yeah, we have a lot of great things that you can be a part of.
Yes. And we will be back with another topic next week.